Agriculture, or farming, is the science of producing crops and raising livestock. Agriculture is also one of the oldest and most important jobs known to man, as it provides us food and renewable resources to make shelter, clothing, tools, and goods. While the Native Americans of Kentucky grew crops for thousands of years to supplement their hunting and gathering of food, agriculture became very important for the first settlers of this land in the mid to late 1700s. They grew and sold hemp and tobacco, which were in high demand across colonial America and Europe. Growing food crops such as corn, beans, fruit, and vegetables, and raising livestock also became important for Kentucky's permanent settlers as it provided food year-round. Today, agriculture is as important as ever in Kentucky. I'm going to take you on a journey to tell you about Kentucky's agriculture heritage, our land, the food that we grow, and the farmers and workers that make it all happen. Many of our Kentucky farms have been passed down to family members for several generations. One such farm is located in Oldham County. Let's learn about their farm history and the importance they place on passing the farm on to future generations.
One of my grandfathers was Gideon Ragland. He came to this area and bought a farm in December of 1808. That was the same month that Thomas Lincoln bought his farm over here at Hodgenville in December. Then Abraham Lincoln was born in February after that. I was born and grew up here in this house on Shady Rest Road, and when I married, my wife and I built this house across the road. And of course, David and his sister grew up over here. And later, after my mother and dad passed away, David moved into my mother's house. So we've had 3 generations here. And now our grandson is also working on the farm, but he's in the next house up the road. So we're all here pretty close together. It makes it pretty convenient when you are ready to go to work in the morning. You don't have far to go, don't get caught in a traffic jam.
Being the 9th generation, it is a great honor to continue working the same land that my forefathers have. And just to be able to work with my dad and grandfather is a very unique and satisfying opportunity. And I hope to continue this tradition with my children one day, and I hope that it continues on for many generations. Because in my opinion, the opportunity to grow up on the farm is the best place a child could be raised, learning to work, being out in the fresh air, and just the wide open spaces is a great place to grow up and be able to do many unique things that folks in the city have never experienced. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Farming is not the easiest occupation one could choose. For me, there was no other option. That's what my passion is and what I've always wanted to do. But at the same time, I had other opportunities for some good paying jobs, but this is where my passion was, and that's why I wanted to be here. Farmers, we care deeply about the land more than anyone else can. We want to treat our land the best way possible. We're not going to do anything to harm the environment. It's a blessing to be able to work here on the land. It's something that is ingrained in all of us here in our family working. We definitely do things at every opportunity to improve the land, to leave it better than we found it. So it is not only sustainable for future generations, but it's better than we had it, because we want them to be able to continue this tradition, and the expectations keep rising, keeps building on itself. So we absolutely have to leave things better than we found them.
Farms and agriculture in Kentucky have definitely changed over the years. As technology, equipment, and knowledge have improved, farmers have adjusted the crops and livestock they raise. Farmers also change what they grow based on what customers want. The land in Kentucky, however, is one of the most important factors to consider for farming success. Our Commonwealth has varying ecoregions and topography. Some land is flat, some has rolling grassy hills, and some have mountains. Due to those differences, farm types are concentrated in different areas of the state, but most of Kentucky's land is classified as either farmland or forest. Larger grain and row crop farms are most often found in western Kentucky. Since that land is flatter, it is easier to drive large machinery in the fields. Greater numbers of cattle and horses are found in central Kentucky, where there are large areas of rolling, lush pastures for grazing and growing hay. Agriculture in eastern Kentucky has changed the most over the years. The mountains in the region limit the size of the farms, but many farmers are adjusting their businesses to serve local customers looking for local foods. Will Bowling operates such a farm in Clay County, Kentucky.
Here at Old Home Place Farm, our biggest focus is on trying to grow food for people on the property that we have. A lot of eastern Kentucky is forested, which is a great resource that we also use here on the farm. Agriculture in eastern Kentucky has changed over time. So around 100, 150 years ago, there was quite a bit of agriculture through the region. A lot of it was more subsistence agriculture. It was families growing food for use on the farm, growing food just for themselves. And that's kind of partly because of just our land base here. We don't have as much flat ground to grow big expanses of row crops they have in other parts of the state. But we do still have enough land that we can grow a significant amount of food. There was quite a bit of livestock that was raised and then was sold outside of the region. Now what we've come to focus on is primarily meats, because we do have quite a bit of kind of steep land here, and our best way to kind of use this steep land is to grow grass on it and then turn that grass into meat products, turn the grass into beef or into sheep meat, and be able to provide that to customers. And really we're starting to see more folks are doing very similar things. Especially over the last 10, 15 years, there's been a renewed interest in agriculture here in eastern Kentucky. It largely went away, commercial agriculture for folks growing for a living went away kind of after World War II, but it's starting to come back now. And it's going to be different here in eastern Kentucky is one thing that we've come to realize. I mean, we have a much different land base than the rest of the state. We have to work with what we have.
As Will Bowling pointed out, there's nothing more important than using the natural resources and taking care of the land. Mr. John Bednarski of Sherwood Acres in Oldham County was recognized for conservation on his farm to protect the soil and waterways.
I moved to Kentucky in 1980 from Vermont, and had very little farming background. My uncle had a dairy farm there that I helped out on weekends, did a little bit of haying and showed a few cows in the county fair, but started Sherwood Acres back in 2002 and 2003 by purchasing this land. It was all grown over and really didn't have anything at all, so it was like a blank slate. For Father's Day in 2003, my wife and two kids bought me 3 belted Galloways. The local food movement was growing quickly, and so we started marketing beef through farmers markets mainly. We're in several restaurants. We're in a chain of some stores in metropolitan Louisville. And we also have our own retail store called the world's smallest beef shop. When we came here, there really was nothing. We had to do some clearing, built fence, and most of that knowledge I gained through cooperative extension and the Master Cattlemen's program, how to lay out pastures, herd health, how to work on forages. And I learned early on that you have to be a forage or a grass farmer first before you can be a beef farmer, because if you don't have the grass, you can't feed your animals. Preserving and protecting our environment is one of the most important things a farmer can do. So we enlisted the help of our conservation district, our NRCS agent, as well as the Fish and Wildlife Service and the Kentucky Forestry Department to come out to the farm and take a look at it with us and walk the acreage and decide what things we could do to bring it back into a usable state, but also preserve and protect it for future generations.
Agriculture and producing food isn't just up to our farmers. It takes a number of different professionals, agencies, and businesses to help our farmers succeed. This is Warren Beeler with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. Mr. Beeler, what support do Kentucky farmers need, and who makes that happen?
We need all kinds of support. I mean, farmers can't do it on their own, and we're very fortunate in Kentucky that we have tremendous support. It's exactly like for its extension service that works on the production side and helps farmers make decisions, helps them with their soil testing. We have Farm Bureau on the policy side, which basically in government, we worry, and on the farm, we know we're doing a great job. We worry more about what they do to us than what they do for us, but Farm Bureau really helps us with that. We got all the commodity groups out here that basically support the product as a whole, whether it be corn or soybeans or livestock or such. And then we've got Kentucky Department of Ag, who, and we work on the marketing side. You're a farmer, you grow a product, we help you find new markets, we help you sell it. So we need tons of support, and we're very fortunate in Kentucky to have those groups working together to help farmers.
We have also talked about how agriculture in Kentucky has changed over the years. What opportunities and changes do you see for the future?
It's been amazing what I've seen in terms of my lifetime. I was one of those guys as a kid that followed a mule through a tobacco patch. And now, I was on a farm the other day where the man was farming 19,000 acres almost by the square foot. We soil test the land, and all the equipment basically is GPS controlled, satellite controlled. And so what you do, you go over a poor piece of ground, you put less seed. You go over a really good, rich piece of ground, you put more seed. So you're utilizing nutrients and resources to their maximum. What will we see in the future? If we change as much in the next 50 as we have in the last 50, it's off the charts. I mean, there's no telling what we're going to do. We're going to have to produce more with less. And so as a result, we're going to see more consolidation, I think, in that part. But we already see things popping up like hemp, like canola, like chia, things that we maybe didn't think about being general agriculture production. And we don't know really, but it's going to be really fun. We've got, with population growth like it is, we've got to feed the world, so we're going to have to produce more with less.
Now, there is a rumor that food is only grown by big corporations on factory farms. What do you have to say about that?
I think that's, nothing could be further from the truth, actually. We have changed. Farming has changed, and we have farms that are a little bigger, but 97% of the farms are still owned by families. And so it's still family farms. And I think probably opportunity-wise, we see more opportunity for all size farms than we ever have. And sometimes the small farms are moved into the local or organic production where they're selling more retail. And you know, there's a difference between eating out in the garden and eating out of a can, and that they're taking advantage of that freshness advantage. And then our larger farmers are really concentrating on production ag. And you know, if it's true, and we have 8 or 9 billion people by 2050, they're saying we have to produce 100% more food by then. And plain simple fact is, we have to have every segment, small, medium, large, organic, local, conventional, producing all they can produce. So family farms are still in control of the farm.
Kentucky is home to thousands of family farmers who care about the land, their animals, and the food they produce. So, what are the foods and agricultural products grown by Kentucky farmers? I'm glad you asked. The top crops that are grown in Kentucky are corn, soybeans, wheat, and hay. Most of the corn, soybeans, and hay grown in Kentucky are fed to livestock. Corn and soybeans are also processed to use in many food items and can also be used to make renewable biofuels and industrial ingredients and everyday items. Kentucky is home to many fruit tree orchards that grow apples, peaches, and pears. The number of other fruits, nuts, vegetables, and herbs grown in the Commonwealth are endless. Tomatoes, sweet corn, green beans, potatoes, cucumbers, watermelons, and grapes are the most popular. When it comes to livestock, the top animals raised in Kentucky are chickens, horses, and beef cattle. Chickens and other poultry, such as turkeys, are raised for meat and eggs. Kentucky is known for its horses. They are raised for sport, work, and fun. Kentucky also has more beef cattle than any other state east of the Mississippi River. Beef cattle are raised for their high-quality meat. Dairy cattle are very important for Kentucky as well for locally sourced milk and dairy products, such as cheese, yogurt, and ice cream. Pigs are raised to provide us pork chops, bacon, sausage, ham, and ribs. Sheep are raised for meat, and their wool is used to make renewable fabrics. Goats are raised for meat or milk. All parts of the animal are used. Leather, lanolin, glues, gelatins, and many medical products can be made from livestock. While bees are not considered livestock, they are very important to agriculture. Many farmers have beehives to help pollinate their fruits and vegetables, and they can also collect and sell the honey. And don't forget about our forests. The trees in Kentucky are harvested for their wood for building projects, furniture, or burned for heat. Wow! Kentucky agriculture touches our lives every day. Because of the hard work of our farmers and the many others that work in agriculture, we have food, clothing, shelter, goods, fuels, and even medicine. Farming and agriculture is just as important today as it was for the first native people thousands of years ago, and I can't wait to see how Kentucky agriculture grows in our future. If you would like to learn more about our Kentucky farmers and agriculture, visit kwfoodandfarm.com.